Welcome to Tally on Wheels, the best cloud-based audit automation tool available for finance professionals like chartered accountants, tax practitioners, and accountants. With Tally on Wheels, you can reduce your audit process time by up to 90% compared to traditional way of auditing. Scrutinize the ledgers and generate analysis reports with a list of anomalies even before you start an audit. This will give you precise insight into the books of accounts so that you can plan your focus areas for the audit and save time and resources. Generate statements like revised Schedule 3 financials auto-linked with trial balance, T-format balance sheet, cost center analysis, detailed annexure of vendor-wise incomes and expenses, multi-entity consolidation, and much more in a few clicks. You can also generate and customize MIS reports effortlessly within seconds and ensure extraordinary experience for your clients. What's more, we are coming up with features like generating integrated working papers for 3CD, GSTR 9 and 9C, reconciliation of tedious returns filed versus books of accounts, and much more to save your time and effort. Are you excited to get rid of these manual tasks and go further in your professional journey as techno-finance professional? Register into Tally on Wheels today.
To take the session on RERA and IBC, and also I welcome all participants. We have a lot of IPs and CAs also are there. Thank you for joining. And as you know that we have three important registrations. One is IBC, GST, and RERA. And GST almost it is like matured and it is happening. Whereas there are especially in IBC, there are a lot of judgments is going on. Again, a lot of cases are on pending, especially in the real estate sector. Whether how to treat home buyers, whether if the companies come to under CRP, whether we need to take only the project or entire company we need to take under IBC. Then whether they are financial creditors or operational creditor, if the real estate company is not having RERA registrations in some cases, how to treat the home buyers. And even home buyers also will have a lot of pressure put on IPs. And there is a interplay between RERA and IBC is going on. For this, we have a good speaker and a very well-known speaker, Vinay Thyagaraj. It is my privilege to introduce Vinay Thyagaraj. He's a chartered accountant and a law graduate, and he's a founder of Venu and Vinay Chartered Accountants, having 20 years of experience in business consulting and structuring and taxation. And he has been working on the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016 since the inspection of the Act, with a view to understand financial business impact of the Act on organization and industry. And he traveled across India, all states to deliberate, discuss, present technical papers on RERA. And he has presented more than 250 technical sessions on RERA to industry association, professionals, home buyer associations. And he has contributed articles to KS CAA Monthly Journal on RERA and co-author of a book published by Taxman on Maharashtra RERA Law and Practice. And presently part of Governing Council of National Real Estate Development Council. Vinay, thank you once again for accepting. Now over to you.
Thank you, Subbarao sir. Thank you for introduction. And first, I want to thank you for inviting me to share some of my experience and knowledge on RERA. And second is your introduction about mine. And today being the working day, I appreciate whoever be here by taking their personal time or a professional time to understand and know about the subject on RERA. Few disclaimers. I am not an expert on IBC. So you have to guide me in terms of how the IBC can fit into RERA. Number two, whatever I talk with the perspective of RERA. Of course, based on some experience which I have with few of the resolution professionals, generally who approach us when there is a real estate company or a project which admit into the RERA, admit into NCLT. They wanted to know in terms of the RERA provisions and also allottees and in and around about RERA. With that little knowledge about IBC and real estate, I present this today's session. As I mentioned that I wanted to share some of the basics of RERA for us to understand and appreciate about this act itself. I'm sure that most of us would have been heard on RERA on newspapers or on the channels or on WhatsApp. And if you are practicing as the RP, and if you have taken or appointed as the resolution professionals for any real estate companies, then I'm sure that you would have some experience on RERA also. So with this background, I'll just touch upon some of the provisions of it. So today I would like to mention something which about the basics and background of RERA and interplay between the RERA and IBC. Some of the reliefs which are available under RERA for the home buyers. Okay, these are the major topics and which I would like to cover in today's session. Hopefully by next, how much sir? We have about 2 hours. In 2 hours, I would like to present, and also we can have an interactive session post the presentation. Friends, you can raise any of the questions through the chat so that I can include those questions while presenting myself about the subject and the topic. Friends, if you know about this act, as Subbarao sir has mentioned, this has been enacted in 2016 and which is effective from 1/5/2017 with a few objectives. As we all professionals know that generally section 1 talks about the preamble and which sets the tone for the entire act itself and which sets the objective of the entire act. So RERA is not different to that. So if you read section 1 of the RERA Act, which wanted to achieve some of the objectives under this act, which includes accountability, the transparency, the professionalism, and symmetry of information and responsibility of the stakeholders, establishing a regulatory mechanism for this industry to enforce some of the disputes and also settle those disputes in a faster manner. Finally, promote the governance in the sector. In the sector means real estate sector, which create a much confidence with the investors. If you look at each of these objectives, hope you all agree with me. These are all the shortcomings of this industry also over the period. And it's unfortunate, even in spite of 70 years of independence, this industry did not have a regulator to monitor, regulator to regulate the industry itself. Like the food, like for the food, we have FSAA, for the bank, we have RBI, for the insurance, we have IRDA, for the for various acts, there are various regulators to regulate the industry itself. But real estate being the second largest contributor after the agriculture in terms of the GDP, there was no regulator. And this is the first highest contributor in terms of the taxes to the nation. We did not have a regulator. In and around about 250 plus industries which work with the real estate industry in terms of the making the project success, making the industry success. However, we did not have a regulator to this industry. So this was the fate of this industry in terms of 70 years. The impact of this was till now, this industry doesn't have a status of a industry status by the government because of there is no regulation, there is no regulator to regulate this industry. Because of that, no regulator, there is no industry status, there is no confidence with the investors. That is why if you hear me, if you are practicing company secretary, you know that investment into the real estate into India is a restricted and also it is a approval route. It is not a automatic route. If it is automatic route, then you have to have satisfy various conditions to become an automatic route. So these are all the challenges, these are all the limitations of this industry. So with this act, government wanted to achieve some of the objectives to make this as to bring this as an industry status also. With an back note, I would like to proceed it. Friends, please remember each objectives are important when I discuss about any provisions under the RERA that enables, that will end up with achieving either the accountability, transparency, or the professionalism, information, responsibility. Now, each of the provisions will fit into either of this objective. And in my last 6-7 years of my experience, none of the sections in the Act has been amended. Very small piece of legislation, this having about 98 sections, which runs about 20 pages, only 20 pages, not more than that. So 20 pages, imagine that how much would be the content of it. Like in a 10 minutes, we all have the habit of looking at the WhatsApp. 20 pages can be scrolled in 10 minutes of my time of 92 sections. 92 sections is only which have. Of 92 sections, about 20 sections are operative sections, and remaining is more like administrative and powers of the authority under the Act. So considering that very small piece of legislation, but very powerful Act, and which completely insulating the real estate industry itself under this Act. I'll explain you over the slide in terms of how this Act has evolved in last 6 years and what all happened in and around of this Act. So as I mentioned, this is the 2016 Act is 16 of 2016. The government by way of notification notified it, stating that Act is effective from 1/5/2017, and accordingly the Act comes to an existence and implemented from 1/5/2017. One, it's a central Act, and also by virtue of section 20 of the Act, central government has given a power to the state government to frame the rules and notify the same. And as part of the rules, powers are given to the state again to appoint the regulatory authority and also appoint the adjudicating officer as well as the appellate tribunal. Even though it's a central act, but the powers are supervision by the state government itself. Within the framework of the Act, we all know that rules cannot override or which cannot go beyond the Act. Accordingly, this is also because the state has the power in terms of the land-related laws. Land-related laws are in the hands of the state government. Each state has a different way of doing the business related to the land, and also in terms of conveyance or in terms of the conversion, in terms of the development, which each state has its own way of monitoring it. Hence, the powers are given to the state government, and central government is only what I can say is only a monitoring through a central advisory council. There is a council under section 41 of the Act where all the state governments, authorities are part of the council. So this Act is, again, as I wanted to reiterate, that it's a central Act and state government is only the powers are with the state government to monitor and also regulate. So this is the national picture, like as I mentioned, that this being the state. Then let us look at what is there across India. Except Nagaland, all the states have notified the rules, because it's very important. Even the Central Act is effective from 1/5/2017. Unless the states implement the rules and mandatory appointment of authority, it will not be functional. So this is the status of the Act and also implementation and also various status of the projects. So about 32 states have set up the real estate regulatory authorities, of which 27 is the full-time permanent authorities, 5 is the interim authorities. Also, as I mentioned, there is a tribunal mechanism, and 24 states have appointed the full-time tribunal, and 4 there is a interim or maybe a additional thing is given to the other tribunals. And totally about 30 authorities have operationalized the website. This is the best part of this Act. Act itself has a mandate to operationalize the website for the purpose of accepting the registration, accepting the complaint, hearing or filing the appeal. So entire process under RERA is a online, and except the hearing mechanism, entire activity of the RERA happens through online. If you walk into any of the RERA authorities and they do not accept any of the manual filing, even though they accept the manual filing, they generate the document identification number, they scan that your documents and upload it and assign that as part of your submissions. So to that extent, the Act enabled the authorities to digitize the entire process as well as the transactions. About 1.1 lakh real estate projects across India has been registered under RERA. About 78,000 agents are registered. Friends, last thing is about the complaints. As I mentioned, one of the objective of the RERA is to resolve the disputes between the promoter and the allottees, inside of which about 1.1 lakh complaints have been filed by the allottees or the promoters under the Act. This is the entire India's perspective. And I'm sure that most of you here are part of the Bangalore. So I just wanted to give you a Bangalore and the Karnataka authority. Authority is always minimum 3. One is the chairman, 2 are the members of the cadre of a secretary to the government or secretary to any of the government ministry, any of the department. So accordingly, Mr. Kishore Chandra is a retired IPS. He is the chairman for the Karnataka Real Estate Regulatory Authority. We have 2 members. One is Neelamani Raju, Mrs. Neelamani Raju. She is also IPS retired. Another member is Sri Gurijala Ravindranath Reddy. He is a IRS retired. So is 2 members and 1 chairman are the part of the authority. In few states there are 4 members, 5 members are also there. And also we have a secretary for administrative purpose, Mr. Ibrahim Maigur is IAS officer. These are screenshot or statistics of Karnataka RERA, wherein the projects, about 7,000 plus real estate projects are approved and about 4,000 plus agents are there. About 10,000 plus complaints have been filed in Karnataka. Friends, 10,000 plus out of 1,11,000 is almost 10% of the complaints are in Karnataka only. Karnataka stood 3rd place in India in terms of the complaints. First is the UP, second is the Maharashtra, third is the Karnataka. So 3rd place in terms of the complaint before the RERA authorities, the dispute between the promoter and the allottees. And second status of the project, entire this blue color is the Andhra Pradesh, and below 1,119 project, 455 agents, about 1,600 complaints. This is the Kerala. I forgot to mention the heading of which state. Left side is the Karnataka, right side blue is the Andhra Pradesh, below is the Kerala. So these 3 states have some statistics relating to these 3 states. Friends, how do we read this act? As I mentioned, there is a central act, RERA Act 2016. Karnataka RERA rules notified in 2017. There is a regulations in terms of operation or monitoring how the functions of the authority is Karnataka RERA regulations 2022. Various notifications, circulars or orders are issued from the authority from time to time. And also some of the formats which are notified by authorities from time to time. This is entire structure and also flow of RERA. And as I mentioned that RERA is the regulator to the industry. Friends, I am repeatedly saying RERA is not just a registration authority. RERA doesn't issue only a registration certificate. RERA goes through an entire project life cycle. Entire monitoring of the entire project would be through the RERA. Hence, we call this as a regulatory authority, not a registration authority. Many a time we come across why RERA is asking so many documents, why RERA is insisting to produce various information, why RERA is insisting for a forensic audit, why RERA is insisting for so and so, so and so. So, as I mentioned, the powers vested under the Act to the authorities is huge. That is why we call them as a regulators to the industry, not only the registrating authority. for the purpose of the project. Friends, very small piece of legislation, but it's a huge. It monitor and which address all aspects of RERA, all aspect of this industry, RERA industry, that is completely inbuilt in this act. I haven't seen any other act has so much provisions to take care of entire activities of that industry. This is the only industry which only act which completely talks about the entire industry. A simple example, the act doesn't permit the allottees to make the payment in cash. Agreement of sale notified by RERA, which clearly say payment should be through online or a check payment. At least income tax says at least 2 lakhs you can pay by cash. This act even doesn't give that lenience. To that extent, the act has taken care. To that extent, act as an inbuilt provision to protect entire stakeholders. I'm not talking only as an allottee. It also protects the businessman. It also protects the promoters. It also protects the bankers. It protects the investors. It protects the vendors. It protects the lenders. It protects the home buyers, financier. So entire act has an inbuilt provision to protect each and everybody under the act. So that is how the act has been framed. The provisions of the act is taken care. This presentation, this slide says about from your preparation to completion of the project till the post handover of the project to the association of the allottees. The act also envisages what will happen once you at the time of handover, how to hand over the corpus, and how to form the association, when to form the association of the allottees, when the formation of association of allottees, what are the documents you should hand it over to the allottees of the association. To that extent, the act is taken care. There is no loopholes. There is no loosely structured provisions under the act to leave out any of the stakeholders. Friends, generally we say that RERA is only for the allottees. It looks like it is for the allottees because they are the major stakeholders, or they are the major, I can say that victims in case something goes wrong with the project. Hence, for all of us, it looks always RERA is only for the allottees. No, it protects entire stakeholders, as I mentioned in the last 5 minutes. So till post handover completion, post completion of the handover, also act is taken care. And friends, you all know that before RERA, pre-RERA, we used to hear something called pre-launches, advanced launches, various types of launches of the project. And what do you mean by pre-launch? The pre-launch means you can launch a project without having a sanction plan, without having any of type of the approvals, just only to test the waters whether I can sell it in the market. That was a pre-RERA, that's a before RERA practices. Friends, now that is not there. Can you see the point number 9? Earlier this 9 used to be a first point. Now it has become the point number 9. That is the last in terms of RERA, in terms of the project launch. So by the time they come to a project launch and start collecting money from the customers, they have to go through this process compulsory. Then come to RERA, take the RERA registration, then you go to the market, collect even 1 rupee for the purpose of your project. So to that extent, Act has been inbuilt provision. So friends, if you advisor to any of the real estate companies, apart from IBC, like you are a regular compliance advisor or advisor to any real estate companies, you should remember without RERA registration, they cannot market, sell, invite, or collect any money from the customers. That is the intention, that is the objective, and that is a mandatory under RERA. Subsequent slide, I will show you that also. So by the time you reach a position of launch, market, start collecting the money, so you will become like it would be about 1.5 hours for the for a small and medium builders, and about 4 to 5 years for a large developers. So hope you understand how much time it takes for the purpose of launching and start collecting. That means we should be more careful. We should be more diligent in terms of the project, in terms of the documentation, in terms of the agreements, in terms of the terms of the contract with, in case of a JDA or in case of any type of venture. Also, as I mentioned, post RERA, what should be the transaction, how the transaction should happen with the customers. Friends, you and me is also a customers in one or other real estate project. We should also understand, forget about our practice, forget about I advise to any of my family members or clients or to the builder. At least if I am a buyer, I should know something about RERA as a professional or as a common individual or a common man if I am buying any of the real estate project in an apartment or a plotted development. So I should know something about this statute, which gives some sense of information, some sense of satisfaction in terms of the transaction. So earlier, you know that money would be collected 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh or 20 lakh rupees at the time of booking. Agreement used to enter at whatever time they want it. Sale deed used to happen at whenever they want it. There is no standardization. There is no professionalism was there in the industry. I follow something in Bangalore, you follow something in Mysore, somebody follow something in Maharashtra, somebody follow something in Uttar Pradesh or Jammu and Kashmir. There was no clarity to one buyer. Somebody come from Uttar Pradesh to Karnataka or Bangalore to Madhya Pradesh. So how does that fellow, how does that buyer will aware of the local laws? How does the buyer will aware that this is the transaction that was not there before RERA is into picture? Now RERA has given a complete clarity, brought a standardization in terms of the practices. So this is what you can see on the screen. We start with the booking form. Then once the booking form is done, then the allotment letter should be issued by the promoter, that is a builder or a developer. Then get into the agreement of sale, and that agreement of sale is a mandatory document, and he cannot collect more than 10% of the value of the unit or a plot unless he enter into the agreement of sale, and that agreement is to be registered with the sub-registrar in accordance with the local laws. Can we see that how much it has brought the standardization, how much it has brought the accountability, how much there is a clarity with the transaction with the customers, with the promoter. So as a professional, as the professionals, as the resolution professionals also, you should look at these documents as part of when you admit the claim from the customer, claims from the individual allottees, because maybe you may aware that now allottees is also part of the COC after the amendment which happened in 2020, and they are also like a financial creditors. Somebody may be a secured creditors, somebody may be unsecured creditors. So you should classify who are the secured creditors, who are the allottees or the secured creditors, who are the allottees, unsecured creditors. How do you bifurcate? So how do you bifurcate the allottees as a secured, allottees as an unsecured is the question. So these documents give some clarity. These documents will, once you have these documents, then you can classify these are all the secured creditors, secured allottees, these are all the unsecured allottees. That is where is important to understand the RERA also, understand the documentation which flow through the RERA, under RERA what is mentioned. Once the agreement is entered, then only he is eligible to collect more than 10% of the unit cost. So what happened after the agreement of sale? Then he start development, collecting the money based on the periodical which is mentioned under the agreement. Then what? Then he formed the association. He should enable the formation of the association of allottees. Friends, you all know that many of you must be staying in any of the real estate project or any apartment. When will be the association would be formed? Or you know that many of the projects which has admitted in NCLT and they do not have an association of allottees. Only after admission, only after admitting the individual claims, you recommend on behalf of all the allottees 1 or 2% represented, and there should be some difference of opinion also. Then you may say that go back, you form the association, let all the allottees become the members of the association. only the office bearers of the association to represent before the COC as the authorized signatories. So, in order to avoid all these things, RERA has an inbuilt provision. The moment you attain the majority of the booking, I'm talking about the booking, not even the sale deed registrations. The moment you attain the majority of the booking, you enable the formation of the association. Association of allottees under the local laws. So advantage is the moment, say an example, I have a 100 apartment, the moment 51 bookings are happened, the 51 bookings can be made by way of collecting only 1 lakh rupees, not even 10 lakh rupees. Then you enable the formation of the association. It gives the complete picture to that association about the project and they can communicate. There is a dual advantage. The moment you enable the association of allottees, a promoter can go back and update the same thing to the association in a better, effective, efficient manner and more practical manner rather than to explain and try to convince each of the customers. And allottees also have a better bargaining power or better representation if you be together, if you are in a group. So that is a dual advantage, formation of association, and it is a promoter responsibility to enable the formation of association the moment 51% of booking is done. Then association done, then continue to develop. Then it
one second. See, normally these apartments are done in phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Yeah. Suppose so, or block 1, block 2 kind of a thing. So it's block 1, 15%, but then association is for the whole thing, no? As a total development as a whole. So how does it work then? The association.
Perfect. Very good question, sir. I will explain in the subsequent slide, but I will take up here also. Say association of allottees. Pre-RERA, we had some way of working. There was no directions either to the developers. See, I'm not just telling that only other than developers were facing the difficulties. Even developers, promoters were also facing the difficulties pre-RERA because one good developer wanted to follow all the compliances 100%. Next to that, the person who don't want to follow anything. There is no competitiveness. This fellow sells at 10,000 rupees. This fellow will sell at 8,000 rupees. Where is the difference? This fellow don't pay the taxes. He collect in cash. He avoid all type of the transaction. But the good fellows used to suffer. That cost end up with on whom? Always on the customers. So that used to be a pre-RERA. Post-RERA, even the builders, developers also have a clarity on what to do. That is a standardized. So Ravi Shankar sir, you are asking in terms of where the large project having multiple towers or multiple phases which spread across 10 years of development. They develop stage by stage and hand over at the end. So this is what is, I am assume that is a question. So under section 3 to explanation to section 3 of the Act as an inbuilt provision in case of the phase-wise development. Each project, each application under RERA, each tower is called as one project for the purpose of RERA, for all the purposes of RERA. So each project is called, each tower is called one project and entire is called the full project. So under RERA, what it mandates is you start forming an association with the tower wise. That is called tower association. And entire project we call it as a association of federation or apex association. And apex association would also be formed along with the tower together, whichever be the new tower come, new phase come, they all become the members of the apex association. This is how this structure is being done. Fairly, this is accepted and fairly in last 6 years, many of the large developers, many of the developers who built this phase-wise have accepted this way of structure and fairly successful, sir. I am also part of, as an apartment owner, I also stay in an apartment, which is, I have seen pre-RERA, post-RERA, and also it takes another 5 years of completion of the project of subsequent phases. Where I reside also, it has a tower-wise or a phase-wise association, and entire apex as a federation of all the towers would be called as one apex association, sir. And similarly, industry also accepted, even the association, the formation of association, respective statute also has given the provisions to follow this. That's how the association formation is also there. So once the formation of association, then the promoter continue to develop it and complete the development of the project and obtain the completion certificate or occupancy certificate. In Karnataka, we call it as a occupancy certificate. In few states, it called as a completion certificate. And it is mandatory as per section 11 for the promoter to obtain the occupancy certificate. Friends, you know that in Bangalore, 30-40% of the project within the CBD area or within the smaller places doesn't have an occupancy certificate because there is a rampant deviation in terms of the construction following the bylaws, building bylaws. That is why they don't get an occupancy certificate. Under RERA, it is mandatory to obtain the occupancy certificate. So what happened after occupancy certificate? As I mentioned, one good builder obtain the occupancy certificate. In 1 acre, he constructs 65 apartments. And next person who don't want to obtain the occupancy certificate, where he builds 100 apartments. This fellow trying to struggle, sell at 1 crore rupees. This fellow sells at 70 lakhs rupees and get away from the place. Tell me who is the benefiter and who is the loser? So that is what was the challenge before RERA. Now OC is a mandatory and occupancy certificate is being mandatory so that everybody follow the same standard of building as well as the bylaws. So earlier we used to know whether he received the occupancy certificate or not. Promoter used to register sale deed, conveyance deed to the customers. Many of the projects we have seen, it is built half and they registered the sale deed to the customers. Still, we see this in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Structure itself is not there. They used to register the sale deed. What is there in the sale deed? Sale deed is an absolute sale deed always. There cannot be a conditional sale deed. If you read the sale deed which says that I've taken the possession, absolute possession of my apartment. But however, physically, if you go and see, there is no apartment, there is no structure at all, or there are no walls at all. But by virtue of the sale deed, we used to take it as the absolute possession stating and also giving taking the possession of the completed apartment. That used to be the practice pre-RERA. Now it says you should convey it, you should register a sale deed only after obtaining the occupancy certificate. Friends, we know that merely by having occupancy certificate, there is a fair chances or a fair satisfaction, fair assurance that project is completed at least to the structural aspect. There is a fire clearances, there should be electricity, water, sanitation. Definition is also defined under section 2 of the RERA Act. What do you mean by occupancy certificate? A certificate which is issued by a planning authority having a provision of a water, electricity, sanitation. I'm sure that with these three, we can fairly assume there is a there is an apartment completion. Leave it apart the common amenities like a gym, clubhouse, swimming pool, my lawn, housekeeping, those things will be separate. At least a fair that my unit is completed. So, RERA has an inbuilt provision under section 17 of the Act. You should convey it only after obtaining the occupancy certificate within 3 months from the occupancy certificate. So there is a standardization. Every builder has to follow this. We brought something standardization. We brought something clarity here. Continue. Then title insurance is a must. Defect liability for 5 years. We know one builder give 1 year, another builder give 2 years. Under RERA, made this as a standardization, made this as a professionalism. 5 years is a defect liability. Section 14, subsection 2 of the Act talks about defect liability, wherein there is a structural defect, provision of poor services, obligation of the promoter not met, provision for supply of the materials. If any of the substandard, then he has a 5 years of warranty to give the defect liability. So now I know that one builder gives the 1 year, another builder gives the 4 years. There is a price variance. Now it is clear that it's a 5 years. I brought a standardization here. I brought some assurance here. I brought the accountability, responsibility of the promoter to give service for 5 years for your product. So this is done. Then hand over to the association. Friends, many of we feel when many of we still undergo the problem of taking over the project from the builder after even completion of 4 or 5 years. Still project is maintained by the promoter, builder, because some of the unsold units are with him, because he was holding some of the clubhouse rights with him. He don't want to hand it over to the association. Now it is very clear, within 1 month from the date of receipt of the occupancy certificate, the builder should hand over to the association of allottees. So this is how the RERA has inbuilt provision to address entire aspect of the transaction with the customers, that is the allottees in the project. Next, various important compliances under RERA. I will not give you much importance to it, because unless you are part of compliances, you are rendering some services, you should know more about it. Prior registration of RERA project, real estate project under RERA, that means to say, as I mentioned earlier, without RERA registration, you cannot advertise, you cannot sell, you cannot collect money from the or invite any person for your project. It is like without having a vehicle number, you cannot bring the vehicle on the road. Similarly, the same here also. Without RERA registration, you cannot market it. I hope if you observe any of the advertisements, you can see RERA registered and RERA registration number also available. Second biggest transformation by way of this act is called financial management. You might have heard about 70-30, 70-30, RERA account, RERA escrow account, designated account. This is the biggest transformation of this industry. Earlier, even though there was allied laws which was restricting, which was compulsory mandated the promoter or any businessman to use the money which is collected, but this act, this industry was a exception or which was not following. You remember Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. PLMA says what? If you collected any money for the particular purpose, you should use it for the same purpose. Otherwise, you are booked under PMLA. And this act is also not an exception to that even earlier, but it was not followed. That was the practice. PLMA was the same thing under RERA also. You collected money for a particular project, please spend for that project. That's all they're trying to say, that you collected for the project A, spend how much? 70% of that project. 30 you do whatever you want it. We presume 30 would be like towards your profits or whatever maybe, but 70 minimum you should spend it. So 70% I will explain in a subsequent slide. And also there is an annual audit of accounts of the project, not the entity. It's a project wise. And also, as I mentioned, every registration of RERA has a validity, 3 years, 5 years, depends on that. Then you have to renew it with them. Advertisement, there's a big and beautiful advertisement guidelines called Veracity of Advertisement, Section 12 of the Act, which mandates how you should advertise, how you should not advertise. And in case if you are advertising something which is not real, not intended to deliver, then you are liable for the compensation and the damages. Friends, you know that how the real estate advertisements are advertised in various forums, brochures, right? Example, heaven on earth, right? And best in the class, 5 minutes to the airport, best infrastructure. Who certifies it? Who certified this? Example, 2 minutes to the hospital. From which road? And which way? At what time? And 15 minutes drive to the airport. What time? Is midnight at 12 o'clock or early morning 2 o'clock? So those are all the things which has brought some clarity with this. Any advertisement you give, if that is not a factual, that is unable, or your intention is not to achieve that, then you are for a compensation. Then there is a progress report. As I mentioned, it's a regulatory authority. They also monitor, they also regulate the progress of the development of the work. How? By way of you filing the quarterly updates. A beautiful information which is available. And with this information, the authority can see the entire picture of the project development, whether builder will see, whether allottees see or not, whether professionals see or not, but RERA authority can see because of the information which they are holding with them. And agreement of sale, which is notified. As I mentioned that, friends, earlier, what was the agreement of sale? If you pay 2 lakh rupees to a professional, you prepare 200 pages of agreement of sale. Pay 500 rupees, still you get agreement of sale. So there was no standard format. There was no protection in terms of the buyers. There was no clarity to the builders as what to mention. So section 13 of the Act, read with rule 8A of the Karnataka real estate rules. There is a agreement of sale which is notified. This is the agreement of sale which is notified. You should follow the agreement of sale notified. Clauses are not negotiable. Clauses in the agreement of sale is not negotiable clauses, which is very clear. Justice Chandrachud also has brought in and directed the every state through the central government. Builders buyers agreement should be uniform. There should not be a different from different states. And with this, there is a standard agreement of sale. Friends, leave apart the professional. I as a buyer, you as a buyer. You also get into agreement of sale. I should ensure the agreement of sale is as notified by RERA, because it gives the equal balancing between the customers and the builders. Earlier, it always used to be a one-sided agreement, and customer did not have any say in the agreement itself. But now it is a balance, and it is what is mandated under RERA is only there. It is nothing else, because looking at that, as a profession, we don't want to accept, oh, this is too much. It is too much, because this is what we intend to achieve. The first slide, accountability, responsibility, transparency, standardization. This is what we intend to achieve. That is why these formats are notified. And allottees of association already have mentioned, I discussed. Then the common area should be conveyed to as per section 17. Legal aspect, many things are there. So this is about the project. What is the major practices, compliances, very important under RERA. Registration and the project, which I already mentioned. RERA registration is the first entry, first aspects under RERA to get into a RERA. And if you ask, sir, if so, what do you mean by a project? Which are the project which is liable for registration? So very simple, any project which has a land which is more than 500 square meters, that means 5,382 square feet of the project land, or more than 8 units or 8 apartments, 8 shops, 8 commercial shops, liable for registration. Friends, most of the projects, I presume it is more than 5,382. Otherwise, those things are not qualified as an apartment. They're all called multi, what they call it as, when they give the plan, they give it as a multi-storage units only with the 4 kitchens or 6 kitchens. That is not called as an apartment. So most of the project which is qualified as an apartment will fall under this. Second exemption is, as on introduction of the Act, as on 1/5/2017, if you receive the completion certificate for that project, they are all exempted. So these are all 2 exceptions under RERA where you need not to register. Then what do you mean by a project? Because many a time, many of the promoters or the professionals, they always ask, sir, RERA is only for building, na? Why for the plotted development? Layout gella yake apply agbeku anta helತಾರೆ. Because the definition of a project includes a building, layout, plotted development, or plotted development, layout, commercial, everything is included. So hence it requires a registration. Because even plotted development also qualify for a real estate. Hence it required to register under RERA, real estate project. And you cannot ignore this act. Merely saying, sir, I don't practice on RERA. Of course, your company secretaries, I may not look much. If you are advising to real estate companies, you should look at this RERA, because you are certifying the compliances. If you are issuing a secretarial report, industry, if you are industry specific, then you have to look at RERA itself. Subhasa Rao sir asking, sir, how do I know what is RERA? What is RERA compliances? So you are here today. So when issuing a secretarial compliances report, and you should understand RERA. Friends, many of the company secretaries take our assistance in terms of, sir, please go through and give me some report on compliances under RERA where I should insert, I should put across to the management as part of my secretarial compliances. That is how we also associated with various company secretaries are in practice who issue the secretarial report to the real estate companies. Second, this being the Industry Act, this being the Real Estate Act, anything related to the real estate, you should touch to the RERA. There cannot be a separate definition outside RERA. Any real estate project under any of the act, they have to refer to the RERA itself, to section 2ZN. I hope the section 5(8) of bracket F of IBC also refer real estate project. Again, they refer section 2ZN of the RERA. Income Tax Act, for you to get the benefit of 80 IBA, it refer RERA. GST, to define the real estate project or RREP, again it refers RERA. So the definition of RERA. So no other act is trying to reinvent the definitions. It only says that go to RERA, that is the definition, you follow it. At least for that purpose, as a professional, you should understand what do you mean by RERA, how RERA works, and why RERA works. Then the allotee. I hope these two are the important definition for the purpose of IBC also. Okay, allotee defined under section 2D. Even this definition is also part of your 5(8) bracket F of IBC. Allotee includes, in relation to the real estate project, means the person whom the apartment, building, or a plot has been allotted, which includes the subsequent allotee, like without registration of the sale deed, like we call it as a simply assignment of a apartment or a plot before completion, they are also called an allotee. So this is what is the definition of allotee in the section 2D. Promoter, who is a promoter? A person who constructs or causes to be constructed an independent building or a building consisting of apartments, or converts existing building or part thereof into apartment for the purpose of selling of all the unit or any one unit in the project is called a promoter. Friends, promoter definition is the largest and the longest definition under RERA. It runs into 1.5 pages. It includes everything under the Act, which includes the government agencies like a Bangalore Development Authority is also under RERA. They are also called promoter. Housing Board, Karnataka Housing Board, they promote the projects. They are also under RERA. Slum Development Authorities, they are also under RERA. So there is no exception as part of the RERA itself. When the government itself is not exempted from the RERA, then imagine then who else can be exempted. Societies, cooperative societies, housing cooperative, house build cooperative societies are under RERA. They are called promoters. So with this, there is no exception to anybody who is into the business or a charity of a real estate. I don't call it as a business always, because cooperative society is not a business for them. For them, it's a charity. BDA is not a business for them. It's an obligation as a government. Okay, hence they're also part of RERA. So whether you are doing a business or a charity or a service, you are under RERA if you are into real estate. That is section 2ZK of the promoter. Very interesting. Maybe in subsequent slide, I will also explain whether landowner is an allotee for the purpose of RERA or the IBC, because you want to include it as part of your COC. So whether can I consider your landowner as part of the allotee definition? Answer is no to it, because causes to be constructed in case of a development model, joint development model, landowner is the person who causes to be constructed. Because of him, this project is constructing. Hence, he is also called a promoter under RERA. The obligation as a developer builder has it. Same obligation also the promoter, the landowner has it. The equal responsibility is lies on the developer or landowner also. So you should remember as a professional, all the liabilities of the developer builder also applicable to the landowner. There is no escape or the exception to it. Where all you can apply in your practice. You are the advisor to any company whose land is given as a joint development agreement for a builder, then you have to look at this, because that company who has a land given for a development agreement is a promoter. Entire RERA is applicable to him also. That is what is an important aspect. If the developer builder fail to perform his duties under the development agreement, the landowner is liable to perform under RERA. That is what is the important beauty of it. Earlier, how the landowners used to be, they never care for anything, neither to the builder, nor to the professionals, nor to the government agencies for payment of taxes, and the least to the customers. Now it is not, because you are giving your land to him on which he is developing it. So you are also responsible. You monitor whether he is constructing or developing in accordance with the agreement you entered, because your joint development agreement or power of attorney which you issue to the builder make him to sell this project, make him to sell his product to the ultimate customer. He believes that as a landowner, you also demand that you expect him to complete the construction of the project in the way and manner which is mentioned in the development agreement. 24 months from the date of agreement is what you also insist. So I presume that as a landowner, you insist on that always. So that is the importance of the landowner. And in various judgments which is pronounced by the RERA authority, made it very clear, you are also equally responsible. Even promoter, the landowner also signs the affidavits, various affidavits, while he obtaining the RERA registration. That itself is sufficient for him to know the seriousness about RERA and impact of RERA, liability of RERA. And IBC, this is what I was trying to tell you. You know that explanations of section 5(8)(f). For the purpose of this subclass, any amount raised from an allottee under the real estate project shall deem to be an amount having a commercial effect on a borrowing. That means to say, with this amendment, we have seen who is an allottee, who is not an allottee also. And what will happen? Allottee comes into the shoes and part of your, it has an impact of a commercial effect of borrowing. That means to say is part of your COC and part of a financial creditor. The allottee, as I mentioned, as the definition also, which is there as part of second explanation, allottee as defined under section 2D of the RERA Act, and the project section 2ZN as the RERA Act. Very clear. Now even IBC has brought the definition, has borrowed the definition from the RERA itself. You cannot read a IBC without understanding a RERA. First RERA is there for that project, then IBC is coming, because he is unable to deliver what is promised to the customer through RERA. Hence it comes to the IBC. IBC cannot be, IBC or professions cannot ignore RERA while they consider under IBC. Also, I wanted to ask you, how many professionals have completed the complete resolution of a real estate projects? Not many. In India, I can see 1 or 2 across India. Remaining is still it's going under the process of resolution. That is the problem. Of course, dissolution is the ultimate thing. Dissolution is something, if you're not able to bring the resolution, then the dissolution. But dissolution is not the answer to all the resolutions. That is not the intent of the IBC also. Always IBC looks at ongoing continuity and end up with making it live, not by killing. Like a Satyam Computers, right? Tech Mahindra took over. None in the world has similar impact. Only in India it happened. The biggest of the big, Enron has collapsed worldwide. Only in India, Tech Mahindra could have survived. Satyam could have has continued. That is what is important. That's the intent of the IBC also. Okay, but for the real estate, you cannot ignore how the journey of this project and how the RERA has made an impact, how RERA is inbuilt in this, and continue with that. This is the requirement of the registration. entire aspect of the project should be given to the RERA. As a professional, if you are a resolution professional or a practicing professional, you know there is a RERA registration certificate. Put this information on the RERA website. You get entire picture of the RERA. Or if you are a home buyer, if you are a customer wanted to buy one apartment with a RERA register, don't go to the builder first. Take that registration number, put into the RERA website. Entire information which is required for you to buy an apartment is available. We confidently say that a builder, you don't keep anything in your office also. If any customer comes, ask him to go and visit and download it. To that extent, information is available with RERA. This is uniform practices. Many a time, many of the builders don't give the information. What you can hear, sir, this project is approved by ICICI, SBI, HDFC, major 20 banks. You go and give only your KYC documents, sir, they'll approve the loan. I want each one of you go back and check if you have taken any project in any of the real estate project. Do you hold the entire set of information which really required as an individual apartment or individual house? Answer is no. You may good at something, you are looking at that, you collected it, not an entire aspect of it. I can confidently tell. Even I am a home buyer, in spite of I knowing everything, even I couldn't collect from the builder. He will not give it. Whatever you ask, he will give it. Whatever is having, he don't give it to you completely. But the best part is the entire thing is available in the RERA, including legal title report, which would be issued by a advocate having 10 years more experience in the real estate opinion. What else you want it? Entire availability, entire thing which is available. Sir, I don't know what type of agreement you enter. Don't worry. There is an agreement of sale which is notified. He is uploaded the draft into the RERA website. That is a draft he should enter with you also. Everything is same except your name, address, PAN number, Aadhaar number, consideration, apartment number, car parking, and the milestones of payment. Nothing is changed. That is what is important. That is a standardization. That is a transparency which brought in. You have seen in the first slide, objective of the act that has been brought in here. So this entire thing is available on the RERA website. And what will happen if you don't register? Friends, RERA is a very, very harsh piece of legislation. Maybe you haven't heard about the penalty amount which levies by any other statute. In case of a not registration of a project, you end up with selling, collecting money, advertisementing. 10% of the project cost is a penalty. How much? 10% of the project cost. If your 100 apartment has a project cost of 50 crore rupees, land and building, 50 crores, how much you pay? 10% means 5 crore rupees. You may be surprised. None of the act has this much of penalty. You ask how much levies? Department has levied. Authority has levied. 1%, 2%, even 1% is sufficient, na 50 lakh rupees. To that extent, it has impacted. Maharashtra collected about 80 crore to 100 crore rupees penalty. Karnataka has collected about 25 crore rupees of penalty. This is the quantum of the penalties they have collected. And to that extent, with the 1% or 0.5% itself, imagine the 10%, how much it goes to be. So next is in terms of what are the reliefs, what can a home buyer can go. As you know that he can go as a civil court, he can go to a consumer court, either the district or the national, and the RERA. All the three reliefs are available, but he cannot go to all the three forum for a forum shopping. He can go to only for one forum for particular relief. Different relief he can go, but particular relief he cannot go and do a forum shopping between these three. This is also very clear. As I mentioned earlier, rule cannot overrule the act. In various as a professions we are aware of it. Friends, as I mentioned, 70% of the RERA account as 70-30 escrow account, RERA account. That's all we know it. What is this? Friends, every 100 rupees you collected from the allottees, 70% should go to the separate bank account. For what purpose? To cover the cost of the construction and the land should be utilized only for that purpose. That's all. That's all is a simple mechanism. What is the advantage you have it? You tell me. Who is a big gainer for this from this? Everybody feels it's a allottees or a customer. Always I say that the builder, the promoter, because 70% is assured that you will have a money to complete the project. Your mind will not go anywhere. Your mind will not fluctuate. You don't deviate yourself. We know how we are disciplined. As a business, how this industry is disciplined, we all know. Especially financial discipline, how we know that. So this act has given a complete benefit to the builder and developer community rather than the allottees or customers. So with this 70%, he can comfortably complete the project. What will happen when he comfortably progress the completion? He can sell well. When he started selling, he can make profit well. Government get their revenue of the taxes collected from the customers. Lenders get their repayment. Housing loan lenders to the customer get their repayment with the interest. 70% available. To whom he will make payment? To the vendors, suppliers, service provider, professions like you and me. So this
Sir, one second.
is there.
Sir, 1 second. Does it mean that real estate gives 30% margin?
That was the intention, sir. That was supposed to be an intention, but it is not true. It is not true. Okay. Because see, I'll tell you, this act has started discussing in the Rajya Sabha in 2009, sir. That point of time, this may be yielding 30%. Act has become 2017. So by 2009 to 17, the profit would have been come down. Okay. So rightly said, 30% may not be the reality in all time, not a reality all time, but we have seen various projects has yielded 30%, sir, profits. So however, at least if you have 70%, you have 70%, 90% of the project can complete without any difficulties. That is the intention. That is what is possible out of this act, sir. And if you ask me who are all involved as part of, who are all insulated with this act, engineers, architects, chartered accountant, company secretaries, cost accountants, lawyers, advocates, surveyors, everybody is insulated with this. Everybody has a role to play under this act. Section 56 gives the power to the company secretaries, cost accountants, chartered accountants, advocates to appear before the adjudicating officer, before the tribunal, before the authorities also. So this is the best part of it. Without these professionals, promoters, the builders cannot take the money out from the project account. That is the best part of it. Recent circular which is issued by Karnataka has made everybody flat. They say that not only the allottee money, if you are issuing the bank loan, this bank loan should go to which account? RERA account. Because he is releasing this bank loan for the purpose of that project, the money should go to that project. Not only the customer loan, even the project loan, working capital for the project should go to only that project. That means to say that we know that the money is channelizing only to the project for the purpose of completion, sir. So this is about in terms of the major aspects, which as a professional you should know. Many other aspects are there. So this is a major thing. In the interest of the time, I'm just going through, sir. Next, about the complaint. Who can file a complaint? What do you mean by a complaint under RERA? This is one of the topic which I mentioned. And I, being a chartered accountant, I practice extensively under RERA. We advise to various stakeholders, as I mentioned, to the builders, bankers, financial institutions, lenders, vendors, service providers, customers, builders, professionals, including some of the advisors to the authorities also on policy decisions. So this, to an extent, we provide on various aspects. We have shared the dais with the authorities on various forums and symposiums. And who can file a complaint? Who are the who can be the file a complaint under RERA? So Section 31 of the Act has a provision, and any aggrieved person may file a complaint with the authority or adjudicating officer. Who is an aggrieved person? Why is an aggrieved person? and which goes on says that even the association, a consumer association registered under any law can file a complaint before RERA. This is the best part of it. There is a project which is coming next to your house, and you know that this fellow is not building in accordance with the law, not as per the law, building permission he has taken. You can file before RERA, stating what? Are you aggrieved? Yes, I am aggrieved because not leaving the setback. Because of him, there is a more traffic in my road. Because of him, there is a less water permission, water flow to my line. You are aggrieved directly. So you can do that. That is what is important. Section 31 says any aggrieved person, in case of a project, a customer can be aggrieved or a builder can be also be aggrieved, because in case of customer, allottees don't pay in installment or money as envisaged in the agreement of sale, even he can file the complaint, sir. And section 35 talks about investigation, to conduct the investigation, either suo moto or on a complaint received from the anybody. Okay. As I mentioned, the penalties are huge under RERA. 10% of the project cost I am talking about. That is for non-registration. Any non-compliance, section 60 says 5%. Sir, 5% of what? Project cost I am talking about. Any other act talks about income tax, talks about penalty equivalent to tax, not equivalent to your revenue, not equivalent to your business. GST tax 500 rupees per day or 1000 rupees per day. What is our ROC talks about? 100 rupees per day, 200 rupees per day. Or compound it maybe 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 3 lakh, 10 lakhs. How much I am talking here? 10% of the project cost, 5% of the project cost, straight away 5% for any non-compliance. Imagine when you have non-complied, you are appeared before an authority. For whatever be the reason, authority is not in a good mood. He fought at home, he had something. What would be a fate of that promoter, you tell me? He has a power to levy. He levies it. Then what? There is no other option to pay. Because this, of course, you have a right to appeal. On what? Because Act given the permission, Act has given the power to authority to levy a penalty, they levied it. Of course, in few of the cases, we fought it through and we got some relief. Where in one of the cases, they levied 1.8 crore rupees as a penalty. We brought it down to 50 lakh. But 50 lakhs is also penalty, na? For that builder, it is one apartment itself, 50 lakhs. So to that extent, there is an impact of it. In another case, 1.3 crore they levied. High Court did not permit it. You failed to comply in spite of you knowing you are in the business. So that is what is the impact of it. Friends, please advise your customers, your clients who are into the real estate, follow the compliances. As I mentioned, uniform agreement of sale, Supreme Court directed every state to implement the uniform agreement of sale, that is called buyer builders agreement, and which is implemented across India. Okay, you know all this pioneer urban land infrastructure versus Union of India, where whether allottees in the projects or the financial creditors or not. You know, from 2018 to 2020, it took time. Finally, it is concluded. Yes, they are part of the financial creditors. Also, these also say in terms of 2019, both act as a clause. They are stating that this has a overriding effect of the other act. Both the act has a similar provision. Then what do I do? Which are with the act which has come latest, which is applicable? So which act has come? Both have come at the same time. Then what do I do? So section 88 of the RERA talks about the provision of this act shall, in addition to and not in derogation of the provisions of any other law which is in time being enforced. Further, section 89 of the act also talks about the provisions of this act shall have effect notwithstanding anything inconsistent therewith contained in any other act law for the time being enforced. Even the similar provisions also we have with the IBC. I remember section 14 of the Act. Any proceedings before any statute, any law, any court, the moment this admitted, then IBC has some jurisdiction. You have to correct me because I'm not an authoritative on this. But I remember section 14 of the IBC has similar provisions. So this is what is important, as the professionals also see that which one will prevail. And I also heard at various forums at various NCLT, always they say IBC prevails over RERA. I may not agree to an 100%. Case to case basis, really we should agree to it. And ultimately, the intention of either RERA or IBC is to get the homes to the home buyers, make settlement to the creditors, and see in a best possible way. And similar provision of whatever you have in IBC in terms of the resolution plan, under section 8 of the RERA Act also we have in terms of takeover of the project, there should be some resolution plan for taking over. There is a more or less there is a provisions, but time only should take in terms of the which one overrides others and which one is superior and which one is not a superior. It always based on the case to case. There is no blanket provisions to say that always IBC is prevails over RERA or RERA is prevails over IBC. One of the best case you see that Surface Act we know from the ages, say decades. It says simple, RERA have a overriding effect than the Surface. Banker don't have a power to take over the mortgaged property, leaving behind the allottees in the project, nothing doing. That is what held in the Rajasthan. So with this, there is a bigger picture of the RERA. You can look at that. This simple slide captures the entire activity of RERA, which talks about section 3 is the registration, 4 is the document which is required for a registration, 5 is the issue of the registration certificate by authority. That is, section 6 is the extension of the registration of the validity. Section 7, in case the promoter failed to deliver the project, then authority can revoke the registration, refer to the state government to take over the project. That is called section 8, take over the project, while recommend to the government, give a first right of refusal to the allottees in the project, then you recommend it. Then can you see that there is a takeover mechanism which is inbuilt, which is equivalent to a resolution plan. That is section 8. 9 and 10, it talks about the real estate agent. There is an agent which is defined, one who facilitates the sale of any of the apartment or a plot for a remuneration. He is called an agent. He should also register under RERA. He is also some of the do's and don'ts under the Act, which is section 9 is the registration, section 10 is the do's and don'ts of an agent, real estate agent. That is why you see all these channel partners having this RERA registration number, agent registration number. Then section 11 talks about the promoter's duties and responsibilities. Is the largest or the longest section in the Act. Every aspect of the real estate project is captured in section 11. If you ask me, is that something which is new? There is nothing new. There is nothing new in section 11. It talks about what are the duties and obligation of the promoter in the project, the developer, a builder in the project is there in section 11. If you simply ask, there is nothing new in RERA. It talks about it, bring down all applicable laws. It says you follow it. Did we have something Prevention of Money Laundering Act for the financial management? Same thing also it says about. We had an association to register under some other act, under Cooperative Societies Act or the Apartment Ownership Act. It says that only here. It also talks about you follow the building bylaws, obtain the complete commencement certificate, occupancy certificate, even the any building bylaws or the Town and Country Planning Act also talks about the same. There is nothing new here. It says the same thing. It also asks you to obtain the various NOCs from various statutory authorities. It may be airport authority, it may be BESCOM, it may be a water, it may be a railways, it may be a ZR, it is also asked for same thing. As such, there is no new in RERA, but it all looks as a new to us because everything is brought under one umbrella and started monitoring it, started regulating it. Otherwise, what used to happen under pre-RERA? You take a plan approval and you go to them at the end of the project. Or many a time, many projects even they don't go to that. That means that is the end of the relationship with your industry itself, industry authorities itself. But RERA, the moment you register with RERA, your life starts, your journey starts, the relationship starts. Till when? Till completion handover to the allottees of the association. That is section 11. Entire aspect has been captured. Entire aspect. Friends, if you issuing the secretarial compliances, read section 11. That is the best thing which gives the complete insight about the RERA, and there you can issue a compliance certificate effectively stating whether it is complied related to the real estate, because I'm sure that there is a industry regulations, not only a general compliances, and whether that is complied or not is part of your secretarial compliances. Section 12, I mentioned about veracity of the advertisement, how the advertisement should be, how the advertisement should not be. In terms of something which you are given over advertisement, under delivered, then impact is compensation. Compensation, okay, for the under delivery. So we say always, don't over advertise, don't even under advertisement also. See, in couple of the places we have seen that with the intent to give a better look, the promoter, the builder has installed the water fountain in front of the apartment. Customers all come together and say that please remove this. We don't want this. Because you have to spend about 2 lakh rupees per year to maintain that. Where is the water for me? But this poor builder who built to give a better view, end up with maintaining that water fountain for a lifetime. For him, removing becomes expensive than maintaining yearly. He agreed, okay, I will only maintain it. So this is what is important. Deliver what we promised. That's all it says about. Section 13 talks about the agreement of sale, which I mentioned. Formats are standardized and how to enter, when to enter, what is the content of the agreement, entire thing is there. 14 talks about the modification of the plan or specifications in accordance with the sanction. Anything which changes to the building plan, what happens? Earlier we used to go to the BBMP, BDA, take the modification. I used to do myself because my agreement says one-sided. Now nothing doing. To whom first you go? First you go to your customer. Say, explain, this is what I wanted to modify. Now I have 2 BHK apartments of 100. Post-COVID, customers are asking 3 bedroom. Instead of 100 apartments, I want to make 80 apartments of 3 BHK. Please give me a consent. How much? 2/3 consent, 67% consent should be there. With that consent, then you go to building BBMP, BDA, take the approval, then you come to RERA and file an application for modification. Friends, can you see there is a fairness in terms of what to do in the industry? Section 14. 15 talks about you wanted, somehow you are unable to complete the project for whatever be the reason, you wanted to give up, you wanted to give it to somebody with a good intention, bad intention, then it is called transfer of rights and liabilities in the project to the third parties. Who are the first person to be informed? Again, customers. Because looking at your brand, I purchased it. Today I purchased looking at Tata. Tomorrow you wanted to give it to some XYZ. I don't know who is XYZ. I don't believe in XYZ. You just mere cannot transfer it. First, you should take my consent, customer consent, 2/3 of the customer consent, take it, then you transfer it. Okay, so that is called transfer of rights and liabilities, section 15. Section 16 talks about the insurance of the project. Section 17 talks about conveyance. When do I conveyance? I explained it on receipt of the occupancy certificate. Transfer of common areas, transfer of the corpus funds collected, transfer of the facilities, amenities to whom? Association of allottees. That is inbuilt in section 17. Section 18 If you do not comply or follow terms of the agreement, then what happens? You have to pay the compensation. That is what is section 18. Customers or allotee or promoter also can file a complaint stating that customers are not paying in time, so I am unable to complete the project in time. Ask them to pay it along with the interest. Similarly, allottees also file a complaint in case of a non-compliance to the terms of the agreement of sale. So with this, what I can achieve? There is a regulator to regulate it. There is a promotion. With this, what happens? We can achieve the transparency, standardization, professionalism, uniform practices. With that, there is a efficiency in the industry itself. A transparency can be achieved. Protect not only the customers, there are entire ecosystem, entire stakeholders can be protected with this. So this is the bigger picture of the RERA. I'm coming to off RERA, and I'll try to connect with RERA, and also the real estate itself about this. Subbarao sir, we are about 5:30 now. If you have any questions to anybody, I will open it. Then I'll go to the other part of RERA and IBC, sir. Open to the members, sir, participants. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is there any timeline to get registered? See, suppose if I incorporate a real estate company now, okay,
Yes,
is there any timeline to get that project registered?
Pradeep, sir.
Yes, sir.
Section 3 talks about the registration of a real estate project.
Okay.
Which mandates you to register a project before sale, market, advertise, or invite anybody to buy your unit.
Okay.
Before that, you should do it. Okay. So I'm sure that most of the builders are in a hurry to collect money or market or advertise, right?
Correct, sir.
So we recommend the moment you receive the building approval, obtain the RERA registration.
Okay.
Even though you have your own money to develop it, obtain the RERA registration first.
Okay, sir. I got it, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Any other questions, sir?
Sir, good evening, sir. If NCLT appoints as a IRP for any real estate project, if they are not done registrations, do I need to take registration, or a resolution applicant will take up it?
Okay. So if the real estate project is admitted under NCLT,
I am the IRP.
You are the IRP. So who is managing the project now, sir?
So IRP.
IRP is managing it, right? And what you are managing is a real estate project.
The entire company under IRP only.
Exactly. Entire company under IRP. Part of the company, there is a real estate project.
That is a real estate company only I'm talking.
Yeah, real estate company. In a company, there is a project.
Okay.
That project is liable for registration. If it is not registered, the first job you should do is to register that project with RERA.
Can you wait for the resolution applicant? The buyer of the property resolution applicant. Can you wait for that? Yeah.
Resolution applicant is whom do you call it a resolution applicant?
Yeah. Maybe after successful resolution applicant, we can start again registration.
No, Harish, it is like this. Okay, see, when company is under CRP, the RP is the responsible to do all compliances, whether income tax or GST or Companies Act. The same way RERA also may apply. Like we cannot wait till after 1 year, 2 years, that person will come. This home buyers again will wait for this compliance.
Okay.
Then even in that case, even I don't do any Companies Act compliance, GST compliance, tax compliance. I will wait for all the resolution applicant on.
No, that is not the thing. But the registration process may be FT process and all. That is the reason. And there will not be any activities happening.
I'll tell you what is that. Okay, because your intention is to make this as an ongoing project, not for a resolution. Make this as an ongoing continuity, going concern. You will register the entity. You will register the project under the entity. Of course, it's a very valid question, sir. To most of the projects which is remain incomplete, is liable for registration. In my experience, most of the projects under NCLT is already registered with RERA. I do not know you have any experience of any project which is not registered and which is admitted in RERA, in NCLT.
Yes, I know the few projects.
Okay, few projects are not registered. Okay, probably I'll tell you why they are not registered is they stopped everything even before RERA comes into existence at all.
Yes, correct. You are correct.
Exactly. So that could be the reason, sir. Before RERA, they have left it. Before RERA itself, they have not done anything. But if they are doing even after RERA, like after RERA has come into force, I'm sure that they would have been registered.
Yes, it's clear. Now it's
yeah. Now you got a clarity, sir.
Mr. Vinay, may I just add in?
Yeah.
See, the registration with RERA is something like to do with the GST or TAN or anything like that. So if they are coming under those category, it is a more a compliance which IRP, RP has to do. I mean, that is how can it be looked at?
See, the RERA is like a regulator, sir. RERA is a regulator. Okay. It's not only a one portion of the compliance, like income tax, look at only income tax, but RERA looks at entire real estate itself. This is a very valid question Mr. Harish has raised, because I'm not doing anything. I may not be doing any development work. Consider if you have started doing the development work, consider you started selling it as a RP, as an ongoing project. I hope there is a chances, right? You will not stop it completely. You will continue whatever be the activity. There are projects which is very efficient in terms of for whatever be the reason it has been admitted in the NCLT. If you are able to continue and complete the project, RP can continue and complete it. Then how do you escape? How do you say I will not register under RERA? That is a question, sir. But I'll go back and check. To my knowledge, any projects continuing after RERA, their business remain not registered, I have not seen. Something which is not done anything, even not done any work after RERA, those things might not have registered, sir. Harish, sir, maybe on case-to-case basis, I can tell you what could be the solution to it. Yeah. Any other questions, sir?
Vinay, a commercial project also need to be registered under RERA?
Yes, sir.
Even I'm not selling it, I am going to give only for lease, not
okay.
I'm going to give selling the commercial properties.
Okay, any project which have an intention to sell. Your intention is to sell even 1 unit out of 100, you have to register. Your intention itself is not sell. Intention is purely for the purpose of rentals, then need not to register.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
And one more thing, as you said, the home buyers are like secured or unsecured. See, in case of like liquidation, when I'm going to do the disbursement of money, there is a like secured creditors will come first and unsecured creditors will come later. Can we treat like this, like secured creditors amount payment again like this home buyers and unsecured creditor later?
Same thing, sir. In a financial creditors, you have a secured and financial creditor unsecured. Even home buyers, you should consider who are the home buyers which are secured, who are the home buyers who are not secured, unsecured. I remember in a couple of the papers or the documents which are all discussed at the various forums. Okay, various forums. There is a classification: secured allottees for the purpose of financial creditors, unsecured allottees for the purpose of COC. Maybe I'll share you with the document to you, sir. You can share with everybody. What are the instances you call it as a secured? What are the instances they're not secured? Maybe one example I can tell you, any customer who is having the agreement of sale, they're all maybe called as a secured. Customers who have not entered into an agreement of sale, there is no terms of agreement. They have just given a money. They may call it as an unsecured. So that way we can see some secured and unsecured, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Next, any other questions, sir? Okay, so I'll continue. So this allottees under RERA, which also has mentioned something about the NCLT, where one customer, you all know that initially there was no clarity. Initially there was not much provision for the allottees to go before NCLT, right? Initially, I remember there was a 1 lakh claim, operational creditor could have gone. 1 crore customer could not used to go to the NCLT. That was the situation earlier because he was not called as a creditor. So subsequently, the various forums or the various bodies have represented, made them in terms of part of the COC, financial creditors, and part of COC. At the individual level, customers, allottees has a relief under RERA for any delay in possession. Delay in the possession, there is an interest which is there. Rule 8A has the inserted by the RERA stating that MCLR plus 2% is the rate of interest for in case of any delay, which is a very fair. And in this case, you all know that this is the one of the landmark judgment, Pioneer Urban Land and Infrastructure Limited versus Union of India, and many more than 150 developers. We should read this act, sir. If you are practicing real estate, if you are advising any real estate, you are practicing an IBC and real estate, this is one of the best judgment which is seen. More than 150 developers are represented, and they have made this the best judgment has been delivered. And one of that says that home buyers being financial creditors to have a representation in the committee of creditors through the authorized representatives and having the voting rights. This is one of the thing which is related to the IBC. Apart from that, there are various aspects which is interconnected with this, sir.
Vinay, if you say between like RERA and IBC, which is a supremacy, we can say that.
Sir, this is where you are a IBC professional, I'm RERA professional. You say IBC, I say RERA, sir.
No, before court of law or before honorable NCLT.
Yes, sir. Sir, in our experience, both have a concurrent jurisdiction because the reliefs you are claiming are different. The reliefs you are claiming are different, and the way that you operate itself is a different. I'll tell you a simple example. Before RERA, what you have is only a project. Before IBC, before NCLT, what you have is an entity. Project is part of the entity. Project itself is not an entity. So that is very important we should see, sir. And each case is a different. I have a case which we are supported where this entity is admitted before the RERA. It is FMCG company, but they have one real estate project. Because something happened to FMCG, all their exports were rejected because of it could not pass the quality test of those product, FMCG product. The company was suffered. Because of the company was suffered, the real estate project, one of the best real estate project, had a hit.
Okay.
So each case is a unique case. Each case can be a separate, sir. And I've seen a case, the holding company is having the rights in the project, enter the joint development. The third level subsidiary is taken some assignment from the parent company and managing the project. this company, the subsidiary is having only this project. The subsidiary has failed to deliver it. And now, having filed the application before NCLT, this holding company is admitted, not the subsidiary company, because subsidiary company doesn't have a joint development right. They have only assignment right. Holding company had a joint development right. This holding company had 12 real estate projects. All were doing good. Only this project, because of some litigation on the land, they could not perform. Some operational creditors of this project has filed a case before NCLT. The holding company admitted. This Bangalore case only. And this company, this promoter has gone out to the NCLAT and based on this and couple of other companies which is in the NCR, then NCLAT has passed the necessary orders. In case of any entity which is having a multiple real estate project, please admit the resolution project wise, not as an entity wise. This is the one thing which is also you all aware of it. This also, sir, it's a project wise resolution and cannot be an entity wise resolution. In few cases we have seen there is no what do you call it as what do you call to a person who takes the give the resolution plan, sir?
Resolution applicant.
Resolution applicant is from Karnataka and the builder, the promoter is from Delhi and is having a project is Chennai, Ahmedabad, West Bengal, Jammu and Kashmir. There is no resolution applicant to take the company itself. Then also now NCLAT and higher bodies say that if that situation comes, exhausted the situation of a resolution applicant, if a resolution applicant fail to satisfy, then you can have a project wise also resolution can be applied. That is also there. A beautiful article has written on that. With this, now I think IBBA also thinking that why don't we extend this to any other industry also? Look at multiple resolution applicant in one entity itself. A company manufacturers of the car, they're also into banking business. They're also into selling the oil. Tell me who can buy this company? Who can be a resolution applicant? Neither the car company, nor the banking, nor the oil company. Somebody, Adani, Ambani, Reliance, or somebody should buy it.
Yes. Yes.
And there is a limited entry of a resolution applicant. So now even IBBA and also courts are looking at how can we make this the multiple resolution applicant for a single entity. I'm sure that you can all throw a more light on this because of my experience, I'm associated with various RPs across India. I come across various type of situation or the instances challenging or difficulties of finding a resolution applicant for this industry. Because this industry itself is a complicated. The industry, the way that operate is a complication. So there is not easy to identify a resolution applicant for this industry. That is a challenge we have it. Yes. Even though you have a 90% write-off, 90% haircut, still difficult to get the applicant, sir.
Yeah, one more thing, Vinay, see, as you discussed, okay, there is a 70 and 30 ratio. If company is under IBC, can I get exemption from RERA authorities that 70-30? Because I cannot follow during CARP because I have no money as a IRP or RP. Can we get any exemption from RERA authorities?
Subbarao, sir, you are a resolution professional. You get into a shoe of a management.
Yes.
Compliance is your first responsibility.
Yes.
What is the difficulty for a 70-30? It is like a normal bank account.
Correct.
If you want to use, because 70% money come from a allottees in the project. That money should be used for the construction. If you get from allottees, it goes there. And if you want to use it for construction, you have no problem with RERA also. So there is no exemption to it, sir.
See, that is correct. See, for ongoing concern, okay, if company is not under CARP, that is correct. Because already as a CRP company, we don't have any money. can we use this 30% also to pay or to other developments?
30% you can pay it. But if you collect any fresh money from the customers, then it used for only for the construction, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think any customers have paid till now to any of the resolution professional to move forward, sir. At least in Bangalore, in Karnataka, I've seen in other places, I've seen couple of projects in Chennai, couple of projects in Gujarat, where successfully resolution professional convinced the allottees in the projects, collected the money and completed the projects also. I am seeing the couple of projects in Karnataka, in Bangalore also, where allottees are fairly cooperative in terms of, okay, fine, we'll pay additional money to complete and get the project themselves, sir.
Yeah. You will see, Vinay.
Some small
you
questions.
will see, okay, in Bangalore also there will be projects will come and collecting money from allottees.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know. Yes, sir.
Sir, occupancy certificate received, registration is done. Can a banker again come and trouble us? You're not taking NOC from me. How the RERA deal with NOC matters?
Okay, Harish, sir, I will give you a little more what your question is. Banker has given the loan to an individual customer for a buying of a property, right? You are talking.
Yes, yes. And also, developer taken loan.
Developer also taken a loan on what?
On the same project.
On what?
For example, there is 100.
There are two types of loan. One is the by mortgage in the land, they have taken the loan. Generally, that loan would be given as a working capital loan for a construction purpose. Second, customers goes and take the loan from the banker as a housing loan. So first case, in the instances of housing loan, certainly banker will give a NOC every time, sir. Before he release the money, he give a NOC. Number one. Number two, the builder who has taken the loan on the project, is his responsibility to ensure that he has collected the money from the builder, from the source of the customer. He failed it, or he is hand in glove with the customer, a builder. Hence, he doesn't find a right. That is what I have shown you. High Court of Rajasthan rejected the surface itself. You are failed to perform your duty. Hence, you do not have a right. When you lent, equally you have a responsibility to collect, not only protect your interest, you should have been protected the builder interest, customer interest also. That is how it has been looked into, sir. Even the RERA also say the same thing. Recently, we were representing the group where Sundaram Finance has lent the money to the builder, and they had come and presented all the materials to the RERA authority that we have that agreement, we have this agreement, we have mortgage, that and this. Authority said, declined it. You do not have a right to collect now because you failed to perform your duty. Where allottees have made the money to the builder, you should have collected your money according to your agreement. You have not done it, so you do not have a right to do it, sir. Yeah.
Vinay, with your permission, I request, okay, if you are senior IPs like Ravi Shankar Devarakonda, Ravindra Belayuru, or Bhuneshwari ma'am, or Haribabu, whoever it is, okay, they can share their experiences, okay, when they are dealing with, especially in IBC, okay, when real estate project under RERA.
True, sir. I'm more than happy to listen to those giants of the professional, sir. It's my privilege to have all of them in this program and listening to my small knowledge which I gain over, sir.
Ravindra Belayuru, sir, any inputs from your side?
No, I mean, I have not done any real estate connected IRP work till now. But in one case I had supported, but that was a case where it was an absolute fraud. That support was also very limited. I don't have many things to share, which is very exclusive to the real estate aspect of it. Because if, as far as the fraud is concerned, it is all pervasive. It is not exclusive to real estate, but real estate, there is risk of fraud in real estate is quite huge. That much I can share because of my some other experience other than connected with the CIR. Yeah, that's all. I have nothing more to share as such. Thank you.
I have one question, sir.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the claim which is submitted by home buyers to the RP, normally home buyers have an opinion that whatever is mentioned in the RERA order, that should be the amount admitted towards their claim. But IBC law allows only 8% interest for their amount outstanding.
Yes, sir.
So I think IBC law will prevail with respect to the interest which is to be calculated for the claim admission. First question.
Okay.
And second question is, when they submit their claim, there's a lot of technicalities involved because they have been paying the amount to the developer in installments. Let's say they pay it in 6 months, after 3 months, and so on. So whenever interest, there's a lot of challenges. The interest has to be calculated from which date, the due date in which they have to pay the whole amount, or the last payment they have made, or with respect to each amount they have paid, and interest have to be calculated for each amount which they have paid in installment. That is the second question.
Okay. Naveen sir, thank you and appreciate you brought this question. This is a subsequent slide. Also, I have these questions. Sir, question is, agreement entered with allottees will prevail over, or the orders which is passed by the RERA authorities prevails. Sir, my experience when I interact with the senior professionals, including the advocates or RPs, there are both the views are there, sir. I'll give you both the views. The view one, the agreements which is entered with the customers with the IBC which says 8% is the one set always which is there. For your information, if it is a pre-RERA project, if you open your agreement, it talks about only 5 rupees square feet as a compensation, delay compensation, or a 10 rupees as a delay compensation. Will you hold that? Because that is a document you have with you. That is what is the allottees are submitted as part of their claim. So, or will you say you give under 8% as an IBC? That itself there is a divergent view. Second, there is an order which is passed by the authority, sir, stating 8% plus MCLR. MCLR plus 2%, which is between 9.5% to 10.5% is the rate of interest. So, which one will prevail? Naveen, sir, the order of the authority is a decree, which is equivalent to a quasi-judicial court order. So, I am sure that by virtue of the IBC inbuilt provision also, the decree order can be considered for the purpose of admitting the claim and amount value of the claim, sir. So, both are permitted, and I've seen in multiple projects, one RP has admitted based on purely on the agreement, and another RP agreed on based on the decree. Both are possible, sir. But in my view, authority has paused the order with the value of the compensation and the refund that should uphold than only a mere agreement, because this is an order of an authority. It's a decree passed by an authority, sir. Second question comes of the question.
Yeah, with respect to the decree. Now, let's say there are 100 home buyers, 50 have approached RERA and 50 have not approached RERA. So 50 have got the order, but 50 have not got the order. So how do I accept the claim of other 50 with a different concept and accept a claim of 50 with respect to decree?
Naveen, sir, as we all know that every complaint is a unique, every complaint is a different, every complaint relief is a different. Hence, whoever give the decree has considered various aspects into it, various submissions, various reliefs, take those on decree. Whoever not filed the decree, either you can consider what is the terms of the agreement with the IBC, what it says. Maybe you are kind enough to accept with the 8% interest, you can extend that. No, you still wanted to be on a safer side, even I don't give extension of 8%, I'll purely go as per the agreement, stick on to the agreement. That is the document you have it, na?
Right.
Yeah, hope I've given some clarity, sir.
Right. And the second part?
Second part, interest is always calculated in terms of the agreement, sir. Agreement talks about particular cycle of the payment or on progress of the development of the project. That is the due. From that due till the payment, there is a delay in payment. Interest is applicable for that, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, Vinay.
Good evening, madam. Nice to see
How
you.
are you doing? Yeah, good. Nice to hear you. Nice lecture. So I want to give 2-3 clarifications in this whole thing. See, number one, you were talking about, somebody was asking about when the RERA, whether as an RP or IRP or RP, whether one should get the project registered, if not registered already. In fact, I am dealing with one project which I have spoken to you already. See, what happens in the case, in that project, there's a lot of deviation, more than 50% deviation compared to the BBMP approval. And the resolution applicant, for him, even constructing the building as such is going to be a tough task. We have submitted to the court also. So there are very rare, bleak chances that the building can be modified and constructed, or it has to be demolished and constructed. So what he is going to do, it depends on the resolution applicant, what option he will choose. When that is the case, I have chosen to delay the RERA registration till the resolution applicant comes into picture. So this is one example I want to inform the fellow IPs here. Number one. Number two, just now somebody was talking about, the RERA registered, the compensation as per RERA, and some people have not gone to RERA and hence there's no compensation. How do we do? In fact, if you look at the, it's under the, it's not coming under the claims, under the regulations, but under the AR regulation with respect to AR, it is very clearly given in the case of real estate projects, home allottees. See, if you look at the workmen or employees, even a court order can be considered and accordingly the claim can be admitted. But with respect to real estate allottees, it is only the agreements, 8%, either 8% or the interest as per the agreement, which is applicable. You cannot go by the court order. I have gone through that. That's why I'm able to clarify this point for your information. Third thing, see, with respect to the avoidance transactions in all the real estate projects, for example, in that case, in all the IBC cases, we see avoidance transactions. And real estate, yes, there are avoidance transactions from one project, it has gone to the holding company or it has gone to other companies, and hence the project is not getting completed. Initially, the home buyers are not interested in giving additional money. They say you bring the resolution applicant. Afterwards, when at the fag end, when they feel that there's no choice, okay, we'll give further money and do it. However, the avoidance, the avoidance money, whatever is the money diverted, it remains the same. In fact, very shortly, there will be a government, there will be an amendment in this respect. I have been part of some discussion, so I can tell you about it. But so project-wise resolution may be possible if the project is independently viable. If the project is not independently viable, if the holding company or somebody has taken the money, then the money has to come back. Otherwise, the project will go into liquidation. So that is another point I want to bring. One more point I want to say, yes. With respect to the real estate cases, yes, the government is also mulling over a separate provisions under for real estate cases, covering various things. We have been asked to give various inputs because of our experience in the real estate industry under IBC. And there are certain things in the pipeline, that much I can tell you. A lot of corrections are going to happen for the real estate projects. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for bringing your experience. Certainly, the point number 1, you may not choose to register because you are not continue to sell, you are not continue to collect. Perfectly all right.
Exactly.
Because section 3 also talks about sale, market, invite or something. You are not doing it, yes, you need not to. But in case you wanted to take up sales collection money or do something, then we recommend you to register it. That is number 1. Second, your view is also okay because as I told you, divergent view in terms of order to be accepted or the agreement to be accepted. Okay, because it only at one point of time will this law also settle which one to be accepted, because if all the customers goes and say that you should have admitted my claim as per my decree order, maybe law also will evolve on that, sir. That, madam. Third is
Vinay, 1 second, Vinay. I'm not saying that the law will allow. Well, the law is already there. The regulation says only the agreement 8% or as per the agreement entered into for a different rate. It doesn't talk about the order from any court. Whereas if you look at the next category of either workers or employees claims, it talks about any order. The documents talks about any order received from a court. Whereas in the case of real estate, it doesn't say order received from a court. Okay. So on that basis, in fact, I have rejected a claim. I admitted as per the agreement.
So this is the experience, what you're talking with the experience.
Yes.
Okay.
No, and the document regulation talks about it. It's not only experience, it is the law which is in place right now.
Sure, madam. Maybe this is something insight for me also to look back the regulations, madam.
Yeah.
Is, as you told, like there are a lot of discussions also happening because the industry is a very unique. I also heard and I had occasion to discuss on the reverse CIRP also. Those are all something is also which is possible under this. Maybe days to come will experience various types and various way to handle it in the best interest of the stakeholders. That only I can say.
I also want to give one more clarification, Vinay, because all our IPs, in fact, see, under IBC, the suspended directors and the promoters can get into the company during CIRP. Only their job is only to cooperate. Otherwise, the IRP or RP are supposed to independently do the process and then come out with a resolution plan. If it is not the liquidation, that is the law. But there are instances where, in fact, in one case, I was pressurized to bring the suspended directors indirectly into the project, and hence I was pushed out of the system itself. Okay. But at the same time, I think, that is where, when the home buyers become desperate, they somehow want to get their flat and they are trying to bring the suspended directors indirectly. They openly say, we don't care about the law. IBC is your problem, not our problem. We want the flats. But at the same time, as an IP, it's our job to ensure that we comply with the law. Under the law, what is there, that is what we can do. Even IBPI or even court or Supreme Court cannot do other than what is there in the law. However, there are, the way I view that, there are certain cases where some of the professionals are trying to succumb to the pressure of the home buyers and try to evade the law and to bring the promoters indirectly into this. I object to it, and I don't know. It is, they are taking risk on their own career. That's how I look at it. Of course, there are amendments coming in the pipeline with various feedbacks from our side to IBBA, MCA and all that. But I just thought I should point out this. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yeah. And the promoter has already diverted the money. He has stalled the project. Why to go with the promoter for the same thing? Whether even, I don't think even RERA will approve it. Under IBC, it's very clear that one cannot go with the suspended directors, except in the form of a settlement plan or a resolution plan if he is eligible to submit a resolution plan. Under these two, if he is not able to do, then why the IRP or the RP should succumb to the pressure from the home buyers and indirectly bring him into the system and put himself in risk? That is a question I want to pose to the insolvency professionals, because this is regarding real estate. So thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Sir, I have one more question, if you permit me to allow.
All will be permitted by Subbarao, sir. As long as Subbarao permits, I will continue to be here.
No, it is permitted, sir, for everyone.
Okay. So the question is, sir, let's say a resolution plan has come in and the resolution applicant takes over the CD. Now, what is going to happen with respect to all the RERA orders which are there? Obviously, what I understand that these all will be now nullified. They will not be in existence. They will not have any role to play. But as the resolution applicant, does the resolution applicant has to do something with all those pending orders which the RERA has given, and he needs to apply to the RERA that he has been a resolution applicant. Now I am taking over the company. Now the whole orders should not be taken into cognizance or something like that. Is there any steps to be followed, or nothing has to be done?
Naveen sir, as we all know that a lot is in the project, whether they got a decree or not got a decree, they're part of COC. As part of COC, COC can only approve the resolution plan. Only an approval of the resolution plan, only resolution applicant will take over. As part of the plan, you can you can have the proper understanding, make it as a proper resolution plan itself about what is that allottees in the project will get. What is allottees in the project will end up with paying extra. It's equivalent to a haircut. Paying extra is also a haircut. So that way, there would be a proper consensus between the allottees as part of COC with the resolution applicant, sir.
That has been done. The plan has been approved. The plan has been executed in full, and everything is over. The home buyers have got what they were supposed to get. So everything is over now.
No, if that is the case, like what will be the allottees? See, who will be the claim? Allottees only are the eligible to for that. What will be the orders of the RERA? If they have given anything, if they have given a haircut or something, if they paid anything extra, take a set of documents, go and submit to the RERA, because orders, non-compliance of the RERA orders has a impact on the promoter also. So with this document, go back to the RERA and submit that we are complied with the orders. What is the compliance? Where allottees have come forwarded and settled it by part of the COC. That is the one way to look at. In Karnataka, Lok Adalat is a very successful model under RERA. Okay, every quarterly we have a Lok Adalat. Go under Lok Adalat, bring the allottees also, settle it there with this only, sir.
Okay, so the final crux would be that I need to file certain documents to RERA that I have settled all the dues of the home buyers, or whatever they were supposed to get, they have got it. Now, so anything which is related to this company and this project should not be considered by RERA.
Because even authorities are also functioned to perform to make that recovery. Unless you go and report to them, this continues to show as part of the RRC recovery, RERA recovery certificates.
Right.
The moment you submit, that will come down, sir.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Yes, I request other members like Dushyant and all, okay, can give their views and challenges on RERA and IBC before we conclude this session.
Right.
Yes,
you forgot, you mentioned my name initially, but sir, I have see what happens. What I could observe from the whole thing is that the RERA is a perfect piece of legislation. Now, if everybody functions as per RERA, there is no need for IBC only. Okay, there will not be any IBC case, because at least 70% will definitely go into the project. All these issues are coming because these things are as of today, we are getting most of the cases which are pre-RERA kind of a companies only, because there was because I had done some 2 cases where at least 4, 5 or why 5 for 5. Many were cash transactions. It is recorded in the books also, saying that they got 30 lakhs cash and then they paid 30 lakhs cash. 30 lakhs cash came from one allottee. Now, how do I justify that? If it's a bank, I can. This transaction inserted into the accounts or not, we don't know. But we gave allotment letter to them. So the verification of the cash transactions was a big question. Actually, I asked the auditor also, how did you verify this? He said, no, sir, getting expenses more than 20,000 is a problem. But if somebody is giving you cash transaction of 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, there is no bar on the Income Tax Act. That's what he told me. Then they have seen also where one flat was allotted to 3-4 people. So claims have come from 3-4 people. Now, suppose flat number 1 is allotted to ABCD. Now, who is the actual allottee whose claim is to be accepted? There is no clear cut. So I went by the time whose allotment is on day 1. That man is the allottee. Like that, I took it in some cases. Then I had another big problem where home buyers took loans from home finance companies. Okay, some India Bulls or whatever, HDFC or whatever it is. Now, for the one flat, suppose the home buyer plays 10, and home finance company gives you 90 rupees. So I got one claim from 10 rupees, one claim for 90 rupees also. And in some cases, this is a normal process, but in some cases, what they've done is that since the repayment is not done by the home buyer on time because he did not get the flat or whatever it is, so that agreement had a clause saying that once this is home buyer is not able to pay his EMI on time, his loan also entire thing will rights will be taken over by the home finance company. So the entire claim was given by home finance company and part again was given by the home buyer also. So these problems were always there in whatever two cases I handled, but of course one case went with withdrawal, one case went to NCLAT and set aside. So that was, but then whole problem we faced for 5-6 months, all this, and of course now many people are facing this. Whoever home buyer's representative is there, he is the one person who struggles in between because he doesn't know what to answer there, what to answer here also. So that's also I'm finding in many of these other representative cases. So that is nothing. This is nothing related to RERA, but this is related to real estate company. But how can you do cash transactions in a RERA system?
Sir, as I told you, as I mentioned, income tax permit 2 lakh rupees, RERA 0. RERA talks about all the payments should be online or a check transaction only. That's what I said. Perfect piece of real estate legislation which we have it in India. I have not seen any of the act which remains unamended in over 6 years. This is the only law. There is no amendment which is brought in spite of highest pressure from all type of stakeholders. We all know that who drive this business and who are part of this business. In spite of there is not even single amendment. So that is
that's not, sir. Don't say that our IBC had 100 amendments in 5 years. So it doesn't mean that no. So that doesn't mean that a lot of influences are there on IBC. That's not the issue.
No, I'm not bringing I'm just telling you how much this has strong enough to face it. That's what I'm only telling you, sir. Okay, I'm not like making something superior, making something else is inferior. That's all I can say, sir.
Yeah. Any other views from members?
Mr. Vinay, sir, can you
Yes,
share
sir.
any success story in RERA?
Any
Success story in RERA?
success?
Benefited by the home buyers?
Sir, half a dozen of the projects we have enabled to take over by the association. Association filed an application along with the landowners because here landowners also struck. So they are also helpless. So we had filed an application along with the landowners in Bangalore. At least about half a dozen of the projects are took over by the allottees and they have completed successfully. But the challenges are there, but at least these home buyers got their homes. That is a good part of it. Still, they are finding difficulties with the lenders who are lent money to the builder. What will happen to their rights? Some of the monies are dues by the builder to the suppliers. What will happen? That builder will take care of it. But at least to the extent of the home buyers, they got their homes. They are living happily. In couple of projects, Swami Fund, SBI Swami Fund, they have funded in spite of all these challenges. When the customers come forward to take over, they have sanctioned about 25 crore rupees of the loan for the purpose of completion of the project, and they completed and sale is also registered, sir. In Bangalore, these are all the projects I'm talking about Bangalore only, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Vinay. I think now time is getting over. Now I request, yes, I request Haribabu Tota to provide vote of thanks to this session.
So thank you very much. The presentation, which in detail, which you have made, it details the amount of knowledge and expertise you have in the subject. And we are all thankful to you for sparing your valuable time and sharing with your expertise with us. And we continue to have these knowledge sessions, and we request you going forward also to share in our professional forums like this. And once again, I thank you very much for sparing your valuable time, and I thank all the participants for actively involving and making this session as a fruitful one. And